Sorry, it's been a while since we've had an episode. A whole bunch of things. I mean, with summer being busy, I've kind of been running into some issues with 3D printing and getting editing out and stuff like that. So, apologize for the long wait. We're still obviously plugging away at this, and we made a ton of progress on this episode. We're starting to get into the realm of actually being able to physically test things, which is really, really exciting. It's cool that we got the lights. Now it's just a matter of kind of working out how everything's going to go together and then starting to do some actual prototyping. So there'll be more episodes coming. Sorry for the long wait, and yeah, enjoy. Hey, so we're back, and I think the plan today is going to be just touching up this so that it actually can be assembled properly. Like, one thing that I noticed, the way that these lids are, there's no holes to allow for the connectors to go through it. Now, I don't want to get too carried away with the details because a lot of this is still going to change when we shape it all to be a lot more attractive. But I'd like to see just how to piece it all together so I can have a working prototype I can stack. So that's going to be the plan, as well as maybe work on some more lids. I did a couple touch-ups on this water connector. Let's just see here. I believe it was this one. We'll remove the tray. This piece wasn't quite long enough when I did the 3D prints, and yeah, I want to set this up so that it's actually going to be stackable. Just clean it up a little bit, and then I'll be able to hopefully print off a reservoir lid, and we can see a more finished product look before we do the polishing off. But most of it's been working out pretty good. Anyways, we'll do a time lapse of that and enjoy. Alright, so you guys probably seen kind of the issue that we've been running into. So the way I envision this being made is when you get the original kit, you're going to have the reservoir and one layer. And the idea there is after that an expansion can use all the same pieces, but these are going to be kind of weird, and that's for the reasons that you see here. So usually this tray is going to be on top of these connectors, but because we can't do that in this case, we have to put the tray on top. And that means that we kind of have this weird spot where things aren't connecting like they normally would. So we got two options as I see it. One is that we just make one set of legs really long, and that's the set of legs that comes with like the reservoir and everything else. Because you only need it once. Once you get to the next layer, everything kind of stays the same. The other option is to take and just make short legs and then give them another set of these. So it goes like short and then another set of these, and then it's all the same after that. And I mean, I guess all it is just sort of what would cost more and what's sort of a pain that adds to additional. So like This needs to be the distance of the reservoir plus the height up to the light. And that's pretty tall. And that all is going to be one piece. So the problem is that that's probably going to be the biggest piece of the entire system, meaning that the box has to be that big to hold it. So I'm kind of leaning towards like making a short piece and then another set of connectors, and then the tray would go on top of that, and then everything would just sort of be the same after that, right? You'd have connector, and then you just build it up all the same. So the reservoir would have like a small chunk here, which would be just like a small piece of tubing that's just square by square, boom, it connects in, and then everything else stays the same. And I think that's a cheap solution. You don't need a bigger box, and these are going to be injection mold, meaning they're going to be super duper cheap. So adding 2 more of those doesn't seem to be that big of a cost. So yeah, I just figured I'd let you guys know what I found, and I think that's the solution we're going to go with. But if you think that wouldn't work, let me know. So as you can see, this actually looks like it's going to be a pretty feasible design. Looks really cool. It stacks really, really nice. And this is a rendered view of it all done. So now that we got that all done, we're going to have to work on the next step, which is the top part for just a single system. And with the power of our good friend MS Paint, we were able to kind of construct a very simple, but I think that's what I'm looking for, something that's very basic, very simple, has a nice elegant look, and this is what we're going to aim to try and make. I like curved look. I kind of want it to just house the light kind of discreetly, and that's our next plan. If we can get that, we're really close to done this initial design. So I figured I would show you this one with a little bit more kind of what gets involved when you start to run into some issues and just kind of the troubleshooting process. This was quite difficult because I'm trying to make a specific shape that ends up at a specific point, and I want it sort of split between a weird plane, so it's running diagonally. And yeah, it's quite a process, so I thought maybe you guys would be kind of interested just to see how difficult it can be just to do what seems like something that's rather simple. So I hope you enjoy. Alright, so I've been playing around a little bit to figure out how on earth are we going to get this light to fit in here. So I made well, what you can do in Fusion 360 is you can make a profile and then you can have it follow an edge. So I did that to kind of make a shroud, but I still ran into this same problem, which is I want to have this all the same piece. So I have to find out a way where I just make one piece or as few pieces as possible, and I can hold the light. And after talking for a little bit, I think the best way to do this is, where's that, right here, actually to just split this in half, right here, right, and then once we split it in half, right along the edge there, we set it up so these two pieces can be merged together, and then we would put the light in the middle when we merge those together. And then what I like about that is that's just one piece. Everything clips in like it would before, and our light is held in place. Also, we can injection mold something like that way easier than a piece which has this many angles and sides. So that's what I'm going to work on now, and yeah, enjoy. So this is another example of a part that I'm trying to make what seems like a very simple modification, and just ends up being a bit of a nightmare trying to hollow this out so that it can fit the light. And there's a very specific way you have to do it, and I was unable to figure it out until close to the end. And it's not even that I was doing it wrong, it was just there's a specific face you have to select and a specific button you have to push, and it took me quite some time to find it. But again, kind of see the process of what it can be to try and design something. So don't expect it to be quick or easy. It's just sort of pick away at it till you figure it out. So enjoy. So here we are, and I love the way it looks. It's very clean, it's very elegant. It snaps together, the pieces stayed the same, so I'm really happy with this look. And then of course on top of this, you'd put expansions, and then you just put that light that we made on top. So you can stack it with that really elegant light on top. So I really, really like that. But I think that's all the time we have for this episode. In the next episode, I'm hoping to start piecing some of it together with actual 3D prints and maybe working on clipping those two halves together somehow. I've never actually built something like that. I think it'd be kind of fun, and it gives us kind of a taste of how well everything will actually be pieced together, which I think is really important. So thanks again for watching, and I'm sure you guys are gonna love what's coming up.